He is KafkaEsquire in the house. KafkaEsquire.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the stage. Put it up.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, it's Kafka.
Masked up and ready to go.
Wait, that's what he looks like? That's what Kafka looks like? I mean, he's masked up, but that's the new lawyer guy? Okay.
Nice and close to the mic, please. Thank you.
Are you actually him?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, what's up? From discount Pisco to upgrade to Pisco. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right. Bye.
You've
All right.
made it.
Not taking your abuse anymore.
Okay.
1 sec. Sorry. 1 second. I got to get the link.
How'd you think he was? Like, I thought he was gonna be an old man, like a fucking old lawyer. He sounded like an old man. And he had a crappy mic, which reinforced the fact that he was a boomer, right? Or the former fact, I guess, because apparently he's some kind of like thin fucking motherfucker. I should have known. Kafka is a fucking Final Fantasy boss, right? Oh, dude, didn't he talk about that he's like a defense lawyer for pedophiles and like sexual predators or something? I think I remember that. And dude, this guy's pretty admirable in my opinion. Okay, he's willing to take the flak.
Real quick for chat. Everybody, we have a new edition of the Pragmatic Papers out.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah. And so, all right, put it in the chat. There you go. There's been a lot of drama. I haven't been able to get on stream, so I decided to just come to the event and do it live.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. A lot of really good stuff in there. Everybody should check it out. We've got a really great article about
That's
how
him.
Trump did
Yeah.
really, really well with the EU.
Attorney.
And got that amazing trade deal for us. And then we've got, let's see, a really good one about the famine in Gaza. And I was asked by the other members of the Pragmatic Papers to push you on that to see your position.
People before were memeing about how, oh, we don't know who the fuck this person is, right? But I think at this point, Kafka is getting a little bit more prominence, hopefully. But,
on
yeah, hopefully.
Israel and Gaza with the famine and stuff.
Generally, I think famines are bad. I don't know my opinion's changed on that, but yeah.
Imagine you aren't being paid by the Mossad.
Okay.
And maybe give me a little bit more of a direct Israel.
Oh, the more direct
statement.
is,
Kafka, who are you choosing? Well, Kafka now, because Kafka looks skinnier.
since there's a famine, now my opinion on the entire history of the conflict is completely 180. Now I'm actually a big supporter of the Hamas
This guy's
perspective.
a skinny.
Oh, this rocked. Okay.
There we go. That's what,
We've
yeah.
made progress tonight, everybody. I don't have my outline, so I can't ask you the questions they actually asked me, but now I can make the excuse that I did ask you. My debate, I did actually prep something to debate about, not just that stuff. So we, in the past, have talked about finance and campaign financing and the issue of money in politics.
I love famine.
And
Like
we
the
didn't-
character.
You know, I think it was a good discussion, but there wasn't a huge resolution.
From
And I went back and I looked at some
Chainsaw Man?
cases. And so specifically, I wanted to talk to you about one case called Ted Cruz versus the Federal Election Commission.
Okay.
It discusses the idea of campaign finance from the perspective of the candidate. And so a candidate in America, you're allowed to loan your campaign money,
He looks rather ravishing, don't you think?
Yeah.
and then you can get paid back by the campaign. And there was a rule that said you can't be paid back after you win. So 20 days after you win, the door shuts on that. And there's also a limit to how much you can be paid back of $250,000.
Okay.
In 2022, Ted Cruz challenged this and went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court was like, it's a form of speech. You know, if you spend money in politics, it's a form of speech. And so we're gonna, I'm paraphrasing heavily, but so we're gonna get rid of that rule. Meanwhile, what actually is happening here is you'll see politicians lend their campaign up to millions.
Why is he wearing a mask just to hide face from camera? Dude, he, yeah, I think from Destiny, crazy Destiny haters, yeah, I think so. Because Kafka has been defending Destiny pretty hard when it comes to his lawsuit shit. And not only that, in addition, Kafka is also a person who actively defends pedophiles, like real pedophiles and real like sexual offenders. Is he a lawyer, attorney? Yes. Yeah. So he's like a defendant lawyer for like sexual people, whatever the fuck.
Millions of dollars. And then once they get it in, they have this huge debt. And people go, well, that guy now has power. It's not a gamble anymore. I know this guy has power. And they show up and they say, you've got a huge amount of debt. Why don't I pay that back? And they know, the person donating knows, it goes right into their pocket. That money's going back to them. It's not, I'm helping you win, I'm giving you money to help with your cause. No, the money goes to the candidate, right? It is
One thing I'll say about Kafka is that he seems to be way more good faith than Pisco. Okay, Pisco is like the epitome of a bad faith motherfucker. But every single time Kafka is on stream, it sounds like he's genuinely trying to learn and genuinely trying to figure out things and genuinely trying to get perspective and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, he's definitely much more better faith than Pisco. Yeah. If Kafka was way down the Destiny lawsuit, he did. I think him defending as a controversial people, yeah, like sexual offenders, yes. I'm less confident. No, I'm confident. You're right.
Facilitation of a quid pro quo. And there's even examples of this happening. 2 Kentucky governors were found guilty of crimes for this. A number of other politicians were also, and so
I feel like
initially, how do you
feel
feel
like one of the
about
big blockers for this is when you just say you shouldn't be able to donate to campaigns after like an election?
well, see, the hard part is, right, is that a campaign is an entity, right? They're an entity, so they don't cease existing. I
Yeah,
actually
but
would
donations to campaigns are particular tax advantage things that you get like a tax
Doesn't
receipt
do
for
that
and
now,
everything,
I
right?
think. Oh,
So
yeah,
like if you want to have a tax
okay.
receipt or if you want to have a donation that qualifies as going to a campaign
There's no shot you're like actively defending right now and you're like associating yourself with motherfucking Destiny. I think that's ridiculous, yeah.
for a financial reason, then wouldn't we just say, shouldn't you just cut that off at election day?
Well, but couldn't I just have, let's say, I wanted the KafkaEsquire campaign, but it's not a specific one. It's not for 2026. It's just I have a campaign entity.
Wait, so did KafkaEsquire show up as a surprise? Wait, and Destiny didn't even know, or was Destiny pretending that he didn't know? Or something? Like, was this a... Did Kafka just plan on surprising people? That's it? That's actually pretty dope, not gonna lie. Okay, cool.
That I use. And once I'm in office, well, I'm obviously going to run again whenever it comes up. So if you want to donate now for the next election, right? It's things like that. There would be ways around it. I understand what you're saying. I agree with you whether some kind of hard rule would solve it. But as far as, do you see that at least as a form of like an issue of money in politics? You know?
Yeah, I don't know why you would be able to loan
Oh,
your own
geez.
campaign. I'm guessing that normal FEC limit doesn't apply of like $5,000 whatever dollars.
You can
right?
spend as much of your own money on campaigns as you want. It's the issue is when a third party's giving you money, right?
Sure.
So right now we have a
Well,
limit.
yeah, so the issue there is like, I think it's okay for you to spend as much money as you want, I guess, but I don't know why you could loan it to yourself, because obviously that's where the
Pleasant
weird
surprise,
issue comes in.
Right.
Yeah, that might be a thing that I don't think I would agree with that. When I think of quid pro quo right now, I'm thinking of Eric Adams, which is way worse than that. But yeah, that seems like it would be a bad thing, sure.
Okay. So
I think when it comes to like campaign finance reform, or when it comes to things like Citizens United, I think that there are definitely things that we can look at there that maybe there's a better way to do things. I mean, I'm a huge First Amendment hater right now. You've heard me argue with a lot of people saying that like maybe there are ways we need to look at how alternative media functions or whatever. And you know, people always throw up these huge red flags immediately where they're like, oh, well, that'll hurt free speech or whatever. And I would say, well, right now, whatever's working or whatever's happening is not working. So if there's a little bit.
Well, the problem here right now is that you have people advocating against free speech while saying that they are pro-free speech, which, like, again, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? Like, right now, the First Amendment is enabling people to advocate against free speech, and they're completely ignoring the fact that Trump is, like, directly violating the the First Amendment on multiple counts, right? Before the court cases can even get to him, right? Like, for example, when on New York Times, there is a list of words that Trump wants redacted from government papers or something like that, right? I remember looking at that article. And in addition to that, him suing institutions and going after institutions and taking away funding, like that can also questionably be some kind of like a little weird when it comes to free speech, right? And in addition, I mean, like there's just lots of things. There's just a ton of things. Yeah, that's it. And like the going after attorney firms, like famous attorney firms, in order to like punish them for being anti-Trump, and then them actually fucking catering to it instead of fighting on it, like that's fucking also unhinged, right? Like, yeah, there's so many examples I can point to here. Like, fuck. Yeah, we had an entire arc where we were just like entirely anti-Trump and like fucking going hard on Asmongold and doing all that shit. And you know, I still remember a fair bit from that, I think.
Of damage to free speech. Maybe we experiment here and then see what that looks like on the road. The main issue that I have with the campaign finance people is they usually come at it as though it's like almost the unifocal point of which all U.S. politics is corrupted, and it's like the single entity that defines our entire U.S. political system. And I just find that there are so many examples where that seems to not be working alongside that people lose their ability to describe what's happening, and then if you can't describe what's happening, you lose the ability to fight against what's happening. The most obvious example being that so one of the big owns that people had on me a while ago, so I was saying coming in, Donald Trump is doing things that are like hurting the entire U.S. economy, so it seems like all the billionaire money is not helping. And then one of the big owns that people had against me is, oh, well, look, now Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is happy to work with Trump, and now we're at a world where Elon Musk is no longer working with Trump. So like, I'm not saying that money has no influence whatsoever. I'm just saying there's clearly something else is functioning there that's also
No, people who work for a law firm. Apparently, it was a high-end law firm as well. So yeah,
like hugely
different.
determinative of U.S. politics. And when people become hyper-fixated on the money, they lose the ability to describe and then counteract that.
That's fair. And I think it's understandable that you're running into, and I think this happens to you in a lot of areas, where you run into a lot of bad arguments repeatedly. And
Longer than that. No,
I
4
don't know
or
how to
5
say this
years, I
without
think.
being kind of mean about it, but you often will short circuit a lot of arguments, right? I think that you see arguments coming, and so you kind of get ahead of them because you're tired of saying the same thing.
See, this is just KafkaEsquire fucking. You see, he constantly covers for Destiny and sweeps it on under the rug, and this is clearly evidence of that.
Over and over again.
Sure.
And this is one where I think it's appropriate that whenever someone shows up and says, well, you know, all the people in Congress are bought. However, for me, it's a big deal. I used to do some work in campaign finance stuff before being an attorney, and so it's just I've seen some
getting
different
old
sides of it, and
now,
that's what's kind of a bit of a passion for me. With regards to Donald Trump, I think he and actually Eric Adams are really good examples of how we have positions in various forms of government that are especially vulnerable to money. I think that a congressperson or even a senator are actually less vulnerable to kind of the corrupting power of money in politics because their direct power in the government is harder to quantify, and it's harder for them to actually exert it as opposed to a governor, a mayor, a president. And so with Trump, I agree with you about Musk, that Musk is kind of a counterfactual to a lot of this stuff. But whenever you look at, to me, the way that Trump interacted with Musk, you're seeing that Trump is accepting the money to get what he wants. And then once Musk is counteracting it, it's easy for him to throw away because he already has the money. Whenever you look at, say, some of his executive orders, which I write a weekly executive order report for the Pragmatic Papers, it's really boring. Sometimes there's something interesting, but usually not.
Nice
There's
plug.
been multiple really strange executive orders in which Trump is making very
No, what I like about Kafka is that it seems like everything he's just so incredibly good faith. I'm sorry, like I think that's the case. I think he goes hard against people he disagrees on. Like I've seen debates where he is going pretty damn hard, but like at the same time he just seems like really good faith. Like yeah, I really appreciate that about him.
specific
Like he's not trying to flaunt around the fucking ego like Pisco is.
changes to policy for specific
Right.
industries. Coal is
Like Pisco just seems to be incredibly full of himself and just insufferable at times. So yeah.
an obvious one. Timber was one. And both of those donated heavily to his campaign, donated heavily to his inauguration ceremony. And then he wrote a specific executive order about nuclear energy. He wrote a couple of them about making nuclear energy more
He's
accessible.
competent.
And they all
Well, hey, I'm pretty sure Pisco's also competent. He's just fucking arrogant.
also donated
Gosh, dude, so many of these like impressive, like, dude, dude, all of these like like so-called impressive, impressive, like high class job people are just incredibly arrogant people. Like like I admire like the stuff that you guys do or whatever. Like I'm so glad that you guys are doctors, blah 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 blah. But oh my god, they can be full of it. Okay, it is so insufferable.
heavily to him. Despite the fact that nuclear is not really part of his platform, there's kind of a GOP, kind of a right-leaning pro-nuclear as a counter to green energy.
Yeah, so again, I'm not going to disagree that there could be corrupting influences here. So there's two big things. So one, the reason why a lot of these arguments get short-circuited is because people usually come with slogans of like, corporate, well, it used to be like corporations aren't people, or we need to get rid of Citizens United, and like that's the be-all and end-all.
Yeah.
I'd be in favor of a lot of different ways to shake things up. I just like ideas. One of my favorite ideas, ironically, my good friend, unfortunately he's in prison now, not Darius, but George Santos. I thought he gave me a really interesting idea where he said that if Congress, I guess sometimes how they don't actually make a budget, they just pass like a continuing resolution or whatever.
Oh, nice. I just saw something that Egg had cooked. That looks awesome, dude.
Santos gave me the interesting study where he said that if Congress fails to pass a budget, then in the next election cycle, every single senator and congressman is forced into re-election. I thought it was very interesting that they're not allowed, you have to recycle the entire Congress because they couldn't pass a budget, which is probably one of the most like fundamental basic jobs of Congress is to make sure that they can fund the government, So, and that's, I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, no, why not? So like when people have interesting ideas or things that I think could make positive changes, I'm definitely for it. So that's one thing. The second thing is, I think that people have to be careful. We've talked about this briefly on stream. Checks and balances in the government don't work to limit people from, I think, being ultimately corruptive. They work to limit people in a system that is like, to make sure that the system is working and is fun and fair, I would say, I guess, for everybody involved, right? That, like, I couldn't put anything in the rule book of Monopoly to help you win the game if your opponent shows up with a knife, right? I can't regulate that. Much the same that when Donald Trump was writing executive, like, I don't know what law we could have possibly passed to say the president's not allowed to start a cryptocurrency, that he has a 60% ownership in some company. Like, it's just impossible to regulate against that. Like, these are culture problems. These are culture problems, yeah. And, go ahead, yeah.
I hear you on that. And to be fair, like, I did prepare a pro-Trump argument in case there weren't enough people because of the venue change.
Okay.
And I prefer this one. I agree with you. Right now, we're rearranging chairs on the deck of the Titanic, and it's just, I'm interested in it.
And then also, there's also like the thing that I thought was interesting. So like one of the things that Eric Adams was getting pressed on was like, unfortunately, right? So one of the things people say is like, you brought up earlier, raising money for your election and how some people could rig that by loaning money to their own election campaign. And there's like this quid pro quo where other people are donating, but it's just to pay the guy back, right? So one of the counters that I often hear are public funding of elections, right? Have the city fund it. And that's the very thing that, in a very ironic way, I guess, Eric Adams took advantage of that public funding by using a foreigner, I think it was a guy from Turkey, to make false donations. So you still had like a quid pro quo there that was rigged because of the fact that they had like public funding for their elections. Not to say that that's a bad thing, they shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that I think that we have to be careful when we design a system. We're designing a system that works well, but you can't design a system against like bad actors. That's like what the police are hopefully for.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I would push back lightly on that in the sense that I think it's really important that we construct a system for good actors and for one that bad actors can't take advantage of. I agree with you, the bad actors are going to be there and they're always going to be there and we're always going to have to fight against them. But the law that was struck down in Cruz versus FEC, what it did is it made it so that it was harder to do those things. And it's kind of like, yeah, we're never going to get everybody.
Dude, Kafka sounds like one of these people where you can just like sit down and get like a beer with, and then he would like just talk about really interesting shit. Gosh, he seems so amiable, doesn't he? Like he seems like one of these buddies. He's like friend-shaped. He's friend-shaped.
But putting those roadblocks up, slowing people down, giving the authorities the time and the tools
Blazing
to be able
now?
to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mainly because I see Pisco as such a fucking bad faith actor, and that's really I need to look for a new lawyer to glaze, okay? Because I glazed Pisco too much, and I need to make it up, okay?
Catch them, even if it's in the future, is really important. And we're not really disagreeing on anything here. We're just kind of describing our positions. So, but I would say that.
So yes,
a lot of our policies, they're not really about creating necessarily like a government that works. It's creating a culture and society that has the motivations that we want in it and the kind of push and pull factors. You say a lot that like the important thing about taxes is to make money for the government, and you're not wrong. But a very important thing about taxes is that it creates the push and pull within the market, within a lot of our society for the things that we want to see. And I think that this is a similar thing. This is whenever we're saying, we want to motivate candidates to fund their own campaign. That's great. If by making it a loan, that way they can get paid back, and then people that aren't wealthy, maybe they put their house up for mortgage, they take that money, they put it in their campaign because they really believe in it, and then they get paid back later. And that was a big argument by the justices who voted in favor of the opinion, is that, these loans help people that maybe aren't, the Donald Trumps of the world, or, people that actually did self-fund. These are for people that they can take that risk, which I like that motivation, but then you're pairing it then with this other one where we need to be able to fence it in for the people that can come in, take advantage of it heavily. How much time?
Just a minute or so. Yeah.
Okay. So Donald Trump, he has succeeded greatly with his tariffs, right? I think you would agree with me. So think about that. Tariffs are bringing in a lot of money, okay? And it's
60, 70, 80 billion or more, yeah, so far, yeah.
And that's 60, 70, 80 billion that our taxpayers don't have
Wait, really?
to pay. Why do you think that's a bad thing, Destiny?
Well, I guess when the money's being invented and printed out of thin air, and that's why he's trying to pressure the new Fed chair, whoever that's going to be. Oh, and thankfully the one lady just stepped down, I think, this morning, so maybe he can put somebody in there.
With true numbers, with real numbers?
With true numbers, with real numbers. Gloria Semper. Yes,
Yeah.
I can't wait for our 1 billion jobs created every year report coming in, yeah.
So you agree? You agree it's a great one?
I agree, it's a great one, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, put it up for Kafka.
Oh, Kafka, easily winning, okay? Easily winning the debate, no problem. All right, this guy is the only guy who can defeat Destiny, okay? That easily, yep. That was crazy, okay? Wow. Jesus Christ. It's fucking over, okay? It's fucking Jover for Destiny, dude. That was devastating. That was a devastating fucking blow. That was wow. He fucking demolished him, dude. Destroyed his soul. Shattered his ego, okay? Absolute Destiny destruction. Can't wait for the Kafka anti-fan arc. It will be the most friendly, rotund, friend-shaped anti-fan arc we will ever see, okay? It will just be like Kafka going like, Destiny, I loved you.
Esquire. Yeah, great work. Thank you. Just want to let you guys know that, yeah.
Is he looking at DGG chat? Oh my god, in between. Dude, he's so fucking ADHD fucking motherfucker. Oh my god.
This is, of course, the anti-Trump tour, national tour. We're going to be hitting every state. That's the plan. But we're also launching the anti-RFK Jr. tour. You guys know the king of anti-science. So yeah, we're going to take down the king of anti-science.
Awesome.
That's going to feature Professor Dave Explains, Dave Farina, and
Oh, but But didn't Dave vote Jill Stein? Oh man, okay, like dude, yeah, Dave, Professor Dave voted for fucking Jill Stein. Yeah, I just like listen. Whatever.
Debunk the funk, Dr. Dan Wilson. So
It is extremely disappointing. I'm not gonna lie.
they're going to be going after anti-vaxxers on the road.
You have good memory, I know.
We already have some high-profile anti-vaxxers who are signing up to debate them. On September 13th, we kick it off in New York City. We're going to be back in the Bronxlandia venue, which is the venue we were at with Stephen just recently. When we lost our venue in Queens, Bronxlandia came to save our butts. So, yeah, we hope to see you guys in New York. Is Nick Ravenbashk in the house? Nick? No Nick? How about Christopher Noah Penna? Christopher? Nope. Daniel Uniteros? Yeah, come on, Daniel. Put it up.
They pulled a President Run Day.